All right, joining us on the program at this point in time is Wing Commander Rakesh Singh Chauhan, Wing Commander Bharat Bhushan, also with us on the program here as well. Commander Rakesh Singh, I'll begin with you, sir. I hope you can hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you.
So, what do you make of this accident? That's exactly what I want to know from you first before we get into the nitty gritties. How do you think this transpired? Of course, there's a lot of mystery around it. We have a lone survivor. We have an aircraft which has an impeccable record of safety. We also have two pilots who have flown considerably around the world. And yet something like this has happened. Another question that comes to my mind, sir, is the fact that, the pilot had around 2.5 to 2 kilometers to ascertain whether there was something wrong with this aircraft. Do you think he could have abandoned the takeoff and something like this would have not transpired? What do you make of the situation?
See, whenever the aeroplanes are taking off, there is a speed which is called decision speed. So that particular airspeed, when the aircraft is rolling on the runway, is dependent on many factors like day's temperature, the fuel, the passenger load, and very many other factors. So depending on that, once the V1 is calculated, the computers will show on the display that particular V1 speed, wherein the pilot will decide to rotate. Now at that speed, wherever he is on the runway, he can still abort a particular takeoff. That means he still has the runway ahead. He can apply brakes and thrust reversal, and he can abort a takeoff. But after that, moment you cross V1, then you get rotation speed wherein he's supposed to pull up, and from there the takeoff starts. So at that point in time, it is very difficult. Anyone who crosses V1, he has to actually take off. So in this case, what we have seen from two different videos, the takeoff looks absolutely normal. Even when the aeroplane is going to a height of roughly 300 to 400 feet, everything looks normal. And moment the aircraft reaches to its peak altitude, what is seen in the videos, there's a little bit of hesitation in its climb. That particular moment seems to be there is a loss of lift. Now the lift is dependent on many factors. Firstly, on the engines, whether the engines are delivering power. Second is on the configuration of the aircraft. In whatever power setting the aeroplane is taking off or is in that attitude, can the wing or the flaps and landing gear and all, whatever is the configuration of the aircraft, can it sustain the takeoff? So at this point in time, I think the landing gear should have gone up, but it is not something very unusual because landing gears at times people keep it down for a little longer duration. So we can't really say exactly what has happened, but certainly with the help of flight data recorder, these kind of things will be very clear. But if there was any problem with the aircraft engine or with the thrust power and things like that, the pilot should have easily aborted, which was not done. That means everything till that moment was clear. And after that, once the plane started losing power, then only the things went wrong. And it is very surprising that it can't be a bird hit because we don't see any fire or smoke coming out from the engine. So bird hit can be certainly ruled out. No doubt flight data recorder will show the exact thing. However, in my opinion, looking at the video, that can be ruled out. Second is the loss of engine power. Both engine getting lost at one single time is very, very remote possibility. The third thing comes to is what was the configuration of the aircraft in which it was being flown. And last, certainly landing gear on such a hot day when the aircraft is fully loaded with the fuel and it has got and the load is fully full, certainly the landing gear adds to the drag. So yes, probably putting the landing gear up could have given an opportunity, but there was hardly any time to react from that particular time because altitude was very, very low. No doubt people are talking about 624 feet as the actual altitude, but the actual altitude was just 400 feet from the ground because that altitude is being shown from the sea level. So the height was really very less to do something very special at that point in time. And you can see the professional pilot, whatever best he could do, he was trying, and he was trying to pitch up, and then finally aircraft went and hit the particular building. Now the other question, what you're talking about, the alone survivor who got saved from this particular crash is actually is dependent on many factors. Firstly, the aircraft was fully loaded. Secondly, its landing gear were out and it was losing altitude, so it had no choice but to go and hit that particular building because there was no power. So not at that point in time, once the aeroplane hits in such a condition, whichever way it has impacted, thereafter the further things will start happening as per simple mechanical forces which are acting on the aircraft. So how exactly the aeroplane broke, from which are like if we are talking about 11 seat, this particular seat is right on top of the wing where the fuselage is attached. So depending on how the plane has hit, the whole thing will shear off into many different parts. And that is what really happened, that this particular aeroplane probably had broken from that particular portion. That is how the alone survivor got opened, and thereafter probably after the first impact, when he got into senses, he thought that he can probably come out, and he was on a side where there was not much of a fire. It was on the other side. So that is how he got saved. So it is just a matter of, it is just a, I would say, it is just by chance that he had such an opportunity and he got saved.
You're absolutely right, sir. Reminds me of saying in Hindi, "Jako raake saiyan, maar sake na koi." It's exactly that. Let me also rope in